Witam wszystkich serdecznie, Natalia Krause z tej strony. Moim gościem jest Shamash Alidina, mindfulness teacher, nauczyciel mindfulness oraz autor 11 książek. Pierwszej bestsellerowej książki Mindfulness for Dummies, czyli Mindfulness dla bystrzaków, oraz książki The Mindful Ways Through Stress, czyli z uważnością przez stres, oraz pozostałych 11 książek, które jeszcze na polski nie zostało przetłumaczone, więc witam serdecznie. Hello Shamash, how are you? Thank you for coming up.
Hello Natalia, thank you so much for making the time to do this. No, really great, and so happy that we're sharing it in Poland.
Yes, I'm so happy to share it in Poland as well, and thank you again for finding time to be here and talk about mindfulness, because I've been doing your course and I really, really enjoyed it, and I admire your approach, your mindfulness, your kindfulness. So I wanted to ask you, was it always like that? Were you always so mindful and so kindful? And how did your journey start before we give the definition of mindfulness? And
yes, of course, you know, I was born in the meditation posture as I came out. No, unfortunately not. I didn't even know much about mindfulness until probably in my early 20s. But up to that point, I think, to be honest, I think people who are particularly attracted to mindfulness are people that actually are not that mindful and they really need it. And I think perhaps I was one of those people. Ever since I was young, you know how coloring in is very popular, like, you know, coloring in for adults. Well,
Yes.
as a child, I remember being given a sheet for coloring in, and I thought, what a waste of time. Why should I waste my time coloring in? I could be having much more fun doing something else. So I was always kind of trying to maximize my fun and my enjoyment, which is nice as a child. But then growing up, there was also this drive, always thinking about the future. So the whole purpose of life wasn't in the present moment. I didn't really think about the concept of the present moment. It was always about thinking about, okay, what's next? What's going to happen tomorrow? How can I have a better future, whether it's to do with grades or it's to do with university or work and so on. So there's this constant thinking, and I didn't really know it was happening. I just thought that was completely normal. And it was only when I did a meditation for 5 or 10 minutes in this philosophy class and they started to talk about the value of not the future, but the value of being present. And that thinking, like, you know, if you could be really present and connect with your senses, looking at the trees and the sky and your surroundings and other people, actually your enjoyment can come from there. It doesn't have to come from this future fantastic state where all your goals are achieved, because when you get there, you're always thinking about the next goal anyway. So it was a big mind-blowing moment, like actually it's the present moment where we can fully enjoy, not the future. And so then you know, I started to shift my attention more from planning to the future to learning to be a bit more present. And I realized it's not easy. It was very easy the first time when I did it because it was a new experience. So yeah, certainly not always mindful, but that's my kind of goal, if you could call it a goal. My approach is more towards moving towards that state of mind now.
Brilliant, because our mind is always trying to go forward or stay in the past, and that's what creates our suffering. We're never happy and satisfied with the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think a lot of people have read this book, The Power of Now, and I think that really kind of summarizes it quite well. You know, if we're worrying, it's always going to be about future, something that's going to happen, and we're not sure if it's going to work out. And if we kind of are kind of looking back in our lives, when we're thinking about the past, you know, things that we did wrong, should have said this, I should have said that, maybe I made the wrong decision, or I was with the wrong person. And so that's reflecting on the past. And if we don't practice any form of mindfulness and we don't do it consciously, then your whole life can go away just thinking about what you should have done in the past that you didn't, or what you should be doing in the future, or what could go wrong. And then your whole mind can be overwhelmed by that. So that's why I think mindfulness is so popular, because people feel too overwhelmed by all this type of thinking, and they realize actually there is something that they can do to start being at least a little bit more present. Maybe not all the time, but just a little bit more shift towards the here and now, and there's some freedom there.
And Shamash, tell me, what's the definition of mindfulness? Because there are so many, you know, let's demystify it. Like meditation and mindfulness, is it the same thing or not? Because I know you explained the course and that kind of clicked as well. And what are the core elements as well of that?
Yeah, well, there's a slight difference that most people agree. There's a slight difference between mindfulness and meditation. Meditation has many different types of meditation, thousands or hundreds of them. And mindfulness meditation is a certain type of meditation where it's more about cultivating present moment awareness. But meditations are something that you take the time to do. You know, you sit down or you lie down, or you could do some mindful tai chi or qigong, but you take the time to do it. Mindfulness meditation. But mindfulness is something that everyone could be practicing, and you can be practicing it right now. If you're making a little bit of effort, or your intention is to be in the here and now, and you notice when your mind wanders, or you notice what your mind is trying to do, and you notice your physical body here, all these kinds of things, is starting to cultivate a little bit of mindful awareness. So you can be mindful absolutely any activity that you're doing if you do it consciously. Some people manage to be mindful while they're sleeping, but I'm not at that stage. Mindfulness of
Counting your breath.
dream states. Yeah, there's some people, Tibetan practices and stuff, where they kind of wake up while they're sleeping and they can see it in brain scans, so they're conscious of the dream. But I'm not into that. But at least during the day, we need to start to be conscious of our everyday activities. So that's the difference between mindfulness and meditation. The definition of mindfulness, if you want to keep it simple, is just about being aware of the present moment. Simply that, rather than just being lost in thoughts all the time. So being consciously aware. And then if you want to kind of break it down and be a bit more deeper in it, it's about bringing attitudes to the present moment, especially kindness, curiosity, a sense of acceptance or allowing of what's already happened. Not accepting everything in your life, but accepting that this is how I feel right now. These are the thoughts that I'm having. These are the bodily sensations right now. This is the pain that I'm experiencing, or the joy that I'm experiencing. So it's about this kind of acceptance. And also a beautiful element of it is observing from being a witness, so being like a transcendent self. So noticing that you are not just your thoughts, you're not just your feelings. You can be part of something bigger. So you can be the observer of your experience. And latest research in something called ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy, as well as in mindfulness research, is that that's very good for our mental health and well-being, and for our flourishing life. Not to just think of ourselves, not to be in our thoughts, not to be in our emotions, but to notice, I'm feeling quite sad today. That's interesting. Or, okay, I'm having all these negative thoughts about the future. That's okay. People have all sorts of thoughts, and these are the thoughts, but they're just thoughts. And I can also think something different if I want to. So then there's a choice there. So yeah, that's a definition of mindfulness.
Yes, and that beautiful kindness that comes with that. And my next question is, why is it difficult for us to be kindful to ourselves? Because that's what I've noticed is probably the most difficult part of maybe not, but what do you think from your experience?
I think in my experience as well, most people say that being kind to themselves is the hardest element of it. And there's different theories about it. It's not always been the case. That's interesting. When the Dalai Lama was first told that this self-compassion is the hardest, he was really surprised, because, in his tradition or in his past, that wasn't such a big challenge. Maybe where he was brought up, or in the East, and with the people, even the everyday people he met, that wasn't so much of a challenge. So there's some shift or some difference in the West. Maybe it's to do with our culture, and it's all about striving and improving and thinking that we're not good enough. And if we think we're not good enough, then we will improve. So that kind of attitude. And so most people, if you ask them, they think that, if they want to improve, they can't just be nice to themselves, because then you'll be too soft and fluffy, and you won't be motivated. So most people genuinely think that motivation comes when you're hard on yourself. But when you look at the research, it finds the opposite. And the way to think about it is, imagine if you had a child, and the child did bad in their maths exam. And if you really told them off and say, you must work harder, you're not doing good enough, and you had all these negative attitude towards them, they're not going to love maths. That's not going to be their favorite subject. They might put a bit more effort in because you're around, but when you leave, they'll stop. That's what we do to ourselves. We start telling ourselves, oh, that's not good enough, I must work harder. But if we encourage ourselves, just like if you encourage the child, like, good try with that maths, but you know what? Let's do maths in a fun way. Let's go outside. Let's count the number of trees, or let's count the number of chocolates that we will be eating today. something more fun. then they will enjoy it more and they'll feel more encouraged and they're more likely to get into it. And so we need to, even though we're adults, we need to kind of encourage ourselves like almost a child inside. It feels strange to us because we're not used to it. But if you try it, it makes logical sense. If you're harsh to yourself, then you're triggering the stress response in you. And the stress response burns a lot of energy. It doesn't sustain. If you're friendly to yourself, kind to yourself, and encourage yourself, like, hey, that was a good try, but I didn't manage to finish my work yesterday. Maybe I'll try something different. Let me try this different activity. This encouraging approach, self-compassion works a lot better. And you need to try it out yourself and experiment, find out if it works for you.
Yes, it has been working for me, yes, because what you said about maths, that was exactly my past. I hated maths and I was always like sent to different teachers and then pain and suffering with it and I'm not good and I hate maths. I even ended up having dreams about maths, that I have this exam and I don't know the answer.
Oh no. Yeah. See, so because it was triggering the stress response. So, your parents or your teachers or whoever it was, they were harsh towards you, not encouraging you. And so then that's triggering the stress response. And, I guess in your dreams, you're having about it because you're trying to release that tension or stress in your mind. And so much harder for you to get back into it. And I've noticed most people, their favorite subject is almost always linked to the teacher. If the teacher's friendly, excited, encouraging. I know one of my friends, his daughter, there was a subject and she was like, I'll just do it because I have to do it. But now she's going to even study at university. And it wasn't a subject she was interested in, but because the teacher was so encouraging, the attitude of the teacher made the difference more than the subject. It's amazing.
It is, yeah, it shows, the difference. Yeah, the same as when it comes to my English. I love the English teachers, and that's why I was learning and preparing, and I had kind of extra classes after school, so that was encouraging and fun, and then there was not so much this hard work and that I have to fight for it to be better and improve,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yes, brilliant. So thank you so much. So now we know what creates stress, our thoughts and the approach we have towards that situation that we are going through life. Yeah. And I wanted also to ask you, because you have also been teaching kids, and I wanted to ask you, how is that? Because some people say that students or small children are naturally mindful, so they shouldn't be taught mindfulness. Or I heard different opinions that what was the recent one I heard, that they cut off themselves from feelings because it's just observing but maybe not feeling in. So there's lots of semantics kind of misunderstandings. So I'd like you maybe to say something about that. How is your experience teaching kids?
So the research on young people and children is that their mental health is suffering more and more, and it's not because there's greater awareness of it. They've looked at it more carefully, and they've found, as the years have gone on, especially since the 1950s, 60s, as time has gone by, there's been more stress and more anxiety and more depression and low mood in younger and younger children. And so we need to think of a way to help and support them if we accept that's true. And that's what all the research in all sorts of different angles has found. So how do we do that? How can we help children to improve their mental and emotional well-being? And mindfulness is something that has been found to be helpful for children. So whatever your approach is to help them in that, the techniques that you use, which you can make them lighthearted and fun, would help them. Are children naturally mindful? Yes, there's a part of them, of course, especially young children. You just notice them looking at all the colors and the shapes, and that's all amazing because they're seeing it for the first time. So it's really exciting. It's like us, if we put ourselves onto a totally new planet with totally new things, we would be like, wow, this is amazing. So I guess that's what they're going through. Even when we go on holiday, you go to a new place, like let's say you've never been to somewhere like India, and you go there for the first time, and all the colors and the smells, it's like, wow, amazing. So they're in awe for that reason. But as they start to grow up, their minds start to wander too much, and they can't be present, and they start worrying, and they start thinking about what they did wrong, just like us adults do too. And so we need to give them some skills so that they realize, okay, I don't have to be stuck with these thoughts, or there is some other approach to these emotions, or these are the emotions that we have. There's a great movie by, I think it's called by Pixar, called Inside Out. That's a nice one to teach children
about the
about
emotions. Yes, I think
yeah,
we've seen
yeah.
it.
So the different characters,
funny.
and then how to learn to notice them and to accept them. There's this sadness emotion that I think the girl just kept trying to fight away, and it didn't work. And it was only when she allowed it and accepted it and make peace with it that she was able to work with it in a more helpful way. So yeah, no, children definitely need a lot of support. Mindfulness is one important element of that. Helping them to be clear about what their values are, taking action on their values, learning techniques to unhook from their thoughts would be really great too. So there's all sorts of things that we could help them, learning to teach them that it's okay to feel these feelings, because they're on social media a lot too, and there's quite a bit of evidence that that's really not good for their mental health, because they're comparing themselves to others all the time, and there's this idea that they should be feeling happy all the time, and if they're not, there's something wrong with them. So all these things, that they need more support than ever before. So I definitely think mindfulness would help them.
Yes, and mindfulness is a skill, as you said, and something that can be developed, and that's why it's good to do it every day. So tell me maybe about, I was listening to your interview, as I said earlier, before we started recording this interview, about habits. How can we instill a habit? So, because people are so busy, there's so many things, and when you think that you have to do another thing, which is even mindfulness, so people say, I'm too busy, I can't stop my thinking, my thoughts, I can't meditate, it's too difficult. So what would be your kind of little thing that somebody could take from that video and start a mindfulness practice, tiny mindfulness practice?
Yeah, well, our minds are so busy. If you suddenly have this intention of trying to stop your thoughts, then it's going to be really, really hard. It's not really going to stop. Even people who've been meditating for decades, their minds are still wander off. They still have thoughts. That's normal. It's not so much stopping your thoughts, it's about noticing that you're having the thoughts. And most of the time we're so in the thought, you're just having the thought, and you don't even know that you're thinking because you're so in it. So the mindfulness thing is to step out from that. It's a bit like, imagine a waterfall. Waterfall is falling on you. You're standing in the waterfall. But what we're saying with mindfulness is that waterfall of thoughts is kind of coming through you, but you don't have to just stand there. You can step back and watch it every now and then. And then before you know it, you'll be back in the waterfall, but actually there's a choice. And maybe there's some other waterfalls that you might want to check out too. So that's what it is.
With different thoughts.
Yeah, different thoughts in different waterfalls. Maybe some more gentle waterfalls you could find. So that's the first thing. Yeah, the second thing is that mindfulness doesn't have to take any time. If you really don't want to take any time, you can just like if you're waiting in the queue for a bus, you can feel some of your breathing as you're waiting and feel your feet on the floor, or notice, is your shoulders like this, is your forehead like this, or can you just let them go a little bit and notice your bodily posture. So just notice from time to time. When you're waiting on the phone, you're on hold, like, your call is important to us, thank you for waiting, and you have to wait on the call. Again, another chance to feel your breathing, feel your body, notice the colors around you. And any activity, let's say you're ironing your clothes or washing your clothes or drawing or washing the dishes, you can do it mindfully. So you have to do it anyway, so you might as well do it and see if you can enjoy it. Like maybe have a small smile on your face as you're washing the dishes and look at the soap and be really happy that you've managed to clean one plate, and you put it there and you move to the next one and you feel it. So you don't have to just rush to finish things all the time. You can actually enjoy even something that you think is really boring, like washing the dishes. But it's hard to remember. So if you can do these little meditations, 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, whatever you want, little mindfulness meditations to start the day, it's really good. So I say 1 minute or even less, because of what the research on habit finds is that if you start with a really big habit, then you're most likely to fail. But if you start small and build it up, it works much better. So, there's the simple one for flossing your teeth. Like, after you brush your teeth, your dentist says that you need to floss your teeth, but you just can't be bothered after by the time you brush your teeth. So you don't do it. So what you can say to yourself is that, okay, I don't need to do flossing of all my teeth. I can just do one tooth. So you take it, and I've tried it.
I love
Try
that.
it for one tooth. You do one tooth and you're like, I can't stop. You just want to do the next one. You're in the momentum of it. You're in the flow of it, but you're allowed to stop if you want. So try it. Just try flossing one tooth and you'll be like, oh my God, I've got the floss here. I've done this one tooth. I'm just going to do a few more. Before you know it, the habit naturally expands. With walking, if you really don't want to go for a half an hour walk, you don't feel like it, well, can you go for a 1 minute walk? And you can walk more if you want. And I can almost guarantee you, you do the 1 minute, you can turn around if you want, but you're like, oh my God, it's actually quite a nice day. And I'm definitely not going back. I'm enjoying it. I'm going to keep walking. So this is the more friendly approach to taking small steps. So it's the same with meditation. You don't need to start with long meditations, just feel a few of your breaths or any meditation, short meditation that you like. And then you'll find that, this feels so nice. I think I'm going to carry on. So yeah, it's called this tiny habits or taking small steps. In Japan, they call it kaizen. Kaizen means good change or small change. And they use kaizen in all the successful companies in the world now, certainly the car companies like Toyota and I think Tesla and all these companies use it, where they just think of what small things can I improve? What small things can I keep improving every single day? And taking these tiny steps, and it feels good because it feels like you're moving forward in your life as well. You're making a small difference to make things better.
Exactly, and takes off the pressure from your shoulder that you don't have to do everything the same day, but you can just be in the present moment, do it gently and slowly, and adjust every day to whatever direction.
Exactly.
Wow. Wow, fantastic. Wow, really love that explanation. And I was wondering as well, let me just look at my lists. I think it would be nice if we could do a little mindfulness, maybe exercise that you could lead me through. So anybody who is watching can have a direct experience of what mindfulness is. Yeah, because it's good. It's nice to talk about ice creams and flavors, but then you have to experience that. So let's, if you would you be happy to do a little one with me? Thank you.
Sure. So there's one which is quite a popular one. It's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so we can try this one right now. And you don't even have to close your eyes at the beginning.
Okay.
So 5 stands for 5 things that you can see. So notice in your room or wherever you are as you're watching this, notice 5 different things that you can see and notice the color of them. So I can see a plant and it's green, but it's got some different colors on it. So I noticed that, and I've never seen the different colors actually. So that's interesting. And then I take another object. I've got this gong again, noticing the different colors, and again choose a few more. And notice that most things aren't just one color actually. They have different shades, shadows. So hopefully you've seen 5 different things, and that's mindfulness. You're noticing something in the here and now. And now for the next steps, you can close your eyes if that's okay. And notice 4 different things that you can feel in your body. So maybe it's your feet on the floor, your legs against the chair, your back against the back of the chair, maybe your hands that are in your lap. Notice the temperature, notice the pressure, and notice what effect of being aware of your body has. Now noticing 3 different things that you can hear. One of them is easy. It's the sound of my voice. So you can notice the volume of it, the tone of it. What other 2 things can you hear? If nothing, then just the sound of silence, listening to that. And now it's a bit more difficult, noticing 2 things that you can smell, but maybe there's just one scent there. See if you can notice what the scent is like. And then taste. Notice what's the taste in your mouth from your last drink or your last meal. Maybe it's still there. Now, finally, just focus on a few breaths. So you're naturally breathing. Noticing, are you breathing from your nose or your mouth? If you can, it's much healthier to breathe from your nose if you can. And where can you feel it? And after that, you can just continue to be mindful, continue to feel your breathing or your body. Or you could bring this exercise to a close for now. And you can do that exercise 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 every day, every morning. You know, when you wake up and your feet touch the floor from your bed, you can say, okay, let me try this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for every day for a week or two. Maybe that could be a good way for you to start practicing mindfulness. Good way into it.
That's true. It's very simple and brings your attention back towards yourself, to your body, and to helps you to get grounded, in yourself.
Yeah.
Oh wow, fantastic! I feel more grounded now too. So excited, and now I feel more calm.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Yes, Shamash, thank you so much. It was so fantastic to be talking to you today. And I just want to say, if anybody is curious about your courses and your books, I'll put the link below the video as well, so people can find you. And I'm looking forward to be doing more courses with you as well.
Thank you. No, thank you for doing this and for great questions. You've created a nice space for this, so I appreciate that.
Yes, I think it's very important, and we need it all, and even that reminder for myself is great, to be talking about it and be in it. Yeah. So thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, and I talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye bye.